Hello, hello. Yes, we are live. Welcome. And not sure. I hope everyone, if you celebrate the holiday here of Easter, I hope you are having or had, if you watch the replay, a wonderful holiday with your family and friends. I will be doing something later today, but idea just kind of popped into my head. We are going to make a journal, and we're going to use a digital, but you can use pattern paper. And the base of the journal that we're going to do is actually going to be made out of cardstock. So if you have a lot, I'll be using the Recollections 65 pound for my pages. Um, but that can be certainly a base. You don't have to have coffee dyed papers, tea dyed, vintage papers. We are just going to use our cardstock and create a 7 signature album, but it's just going to be one page, and you'll see what I'm saying. This is the digital collection that I'm going to be using. It's by Relatively Thoughtful. As always, once the live is done, I'll have it listed down below. But there is some beautiful backdrop colors. We're going to create some flips. We're going to create some pockets. All kinds of pretty things, but look at these. These oceans watercolors are just absolutely gorgeous with some lace and textures. We're going to use those, and then I'm going to use these as the flip outs in some areas and decorate our pockets. So I'm going to see how fast we can do this. Never know. Absolutely never know. I've already taken care of some cutting just to save some time. I've got our template for our signatures. Here are these are 65 pound, and these are cut to be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then I have our pieces for our cover, and these are 7 by 7 panels, and I scored at 2 inches. We're going to have a 2 inch spine because I want room for the flips and the pockets, and then we've got our pieces cut for our pockets already. So let's get started. And as I said, this idea just popped into my brain, literally popped into my brain, and we're going to see if it works. All right, so let's get our cover together. So basically, the album's going to be 5 by 7 in size. So you can make your journal any size that you want. That's the beauty of making a journal. So it's going to be like a journal slash scrapbook album type thing. So I've already scored these, so we're going to put these down. And we're going to layer these. We're just going to put these together like so. And we're not going to cover up that fold. So when we glue these together, we're going to go right up to that score line. And we're going to glue them together. For this, let me grab my double-sided tape. Here we go. And I'm just going to put just a couple strips down, just so that this will grab immediately. And then I will use my liquid glue as well. Now I need mine. There it is. My whole desk is like disheveled here. I can't find anything. And we're going to add our glue. And with the glue on top of the double-sided tape, that'll give me just a little bit of wiggle room. And again, we're not going to go over the score line. We're going to go right up to it. And just line it up. Does not have to be perfect, but that adds just a little bit of strength into our piece there. All right, so that is the album. That's all we got to do. All right, now I'm going to take, this is 110 pounds. And I'm going to cut a piece just under 2 inches. So I'll say like a scant 2 inches. And for those of you that were quilters, you'll understand that. And then I'm going to cut this by 6 3/4 because that is what our signatures are. Okay. So I get asked a lot, how do I make sure with this number of signatures, how do I make sure that everything's lined up? I put a T on everything. Everything's got a T. Make sure these are the same height, and they are. So I'm going to grab my pencil. We're going to put a T up on top. And put that to the back. And then this is my template. So again, I have 7 going, and it's going to be a 3 pamphlet. And when I say a signature, it's literally 1 piece of cardstock. And I even have T's on that. And this is out of the 65 pound. So I'm going to line this up. And I'm just going to use a paper clip. And put that on the top and the bottom. And then I already have the holes marked. So now I'm just going to go through and re-puncture those. Now that's an awesome sound. And I just use a piece of foam from packaging. And now I've got all the holes there. I do put these in an envelope. I don't know if I'll ever use them again. And then I also have my papers as well. And again, we're going to now put them inside. Got the holes. And if I fold it the opposite way, it's lined up with these holes as well. So I'm going to put the holes to the inside. I'm going to put this down into, and I just use copy paper, scrap copy paper, and we'll just use paper clips for these. And I make sure my T's are lined up. So I got a T up here, got a T there. And then everything should be pretty well lined up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just have fun with it. And just remember the same thing, you don't have to have 7 signatures. You can make 1 signature, and everything just gets folded over. Well, hello, Sylvia. Good morning. How are you doing? And I hope, let me know if you can hear me. So a signature can be anything that you want it to be. I use the term, with my pencil, I use the term signature for the items that are sewn in. So again, you can just use pattern papers. I'm kind of combining sewn signature, scrapbook album, because we're going to have pockets, we're going to have flips. So if you've got that paper pad, that 12 by 12 paper pad, or 6 by 6, you can do the same thing. Alrighty. You can use anything that you want to sew. I do like to use a wax thread. I think because with the pages turning and all of that, but I have used cotton pearl threads, DMC threads, you know, anything that you want to use. And I kind of want to stick with the white. I'm going to grab my needle. And whenever you have a signature that you're sewing in, okay, now it'll take me forever to find, oh, look at that, that went quick. You measure the length or the height of your signature. So, and I go 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and I always put just a little bit extra. And now what I'll do, I know I have 7. So again, always the production style. I'm just going to make sure I know this is what I need. So that's 5, 6, and I think this is 7. And then once I have them all together, I just go into the loops, cut it, and now I've got my 7 pieces of thread or twine that I need. Good morning, Cordelia. Sylvia, I am doing well. Thank you so much for asking. All right, here we go. I'm going to take my needle, and this is going to be a hidden spine, and we'll glue this into our book. Now, you can also cover this with pattern paper if you want. Sometimes I do that. But this one I just wanted to, where's my T? Here's my T. So I'm going to make sure that's to my top. T, T, all the T's are up here. And here we go. I'm going to go into the center. And I didn't puncture these. You can. But since it's just one sheet of cardstock, I don't need to do that. If I had multiple pages, I would have punctured through all of these as well. And I'm going to go through my cardstock. I'm going to leave a tail. I'm going to come in on this side. On the outside. Oh, you know what? I do need to punch. That's funny. I'm a funny person. Yes, I am. Okay, one. Let's puncture these. This is crafting at its finest. Absolutely. Crafting at its finest. So when you have your template, make sure you puncture the holes, whether you have 1 or 10 in a signature. Oh my goodness. Too funny. Now I probably could have put all of these together and punctured them at the same time. But let's just do these individually. Oh my goodness. I don't know, this just popped into my head. This could be interesting. Okay. I do also keep, now you could remove your template again since it's just one. I do keep it in there. Because it's just how my brain is kind of working. Let's get those. So there's my T's. There's my T. All the T's are to my right. And I always, when I've got this many, I always start at the back. So we're going to come out. We're going to leave that tail again. I'm going to come back in from the back. I'm going to come in. I don't have to worry if I've got all of my pages in because it's just one. So this should, I say should, I say should, go a little simpler or easier, let's say. And since I only have one, you do want to watch how you're pulling your threads. And then I'm going to come back into the center and pull through. And I'm going to leave that like that. I did cross, you can see there, I crossed into the thing, the thread. And you just want to be careful as you're pulling on your threads because, again, it's one page, one cardstock. So you just want to take care when you're doing that. And you still want it to be strong, but you don't want to go crazy with pulling. And then I'm going to knot. And you get to see the glorious. I'm always checking for my T's. Always checking for that T to make sure I'm at the top. So sewing this, while yes, it's easier because you're only dealing with one page, it is flimsier. Yes, Sylvia, the thread is waxed. I do like a waxed thread. I just find it does work, but you can use anything. It does not have to be a waxed thread. Lost that. So this you just have to be a little more ginger, little bit more softer, and just look to see if you did cross the threads. It's okay. If you don't remove the thread from where it crossed, what'll happen is you won't be able to knot it. So you do want to make sure that you unthread these. And it's just pulling it out of itself. Just like that. Make sure you're on each side of this. And you want to pull straight up. I always check my tension. And then we'll knot again so that they don't become untangled again. Moving on to our third. Oh, you're welcome, Sylvia. Now, a way that you can stop crossing or attempting, especially on a 3 pamphlet, is to take the tail, push it up to the top, come in from the back, and then push up. And that should help you to knot because you're pulling that thread up, and then I just come in at the bottom. And we're moving right along. Geez, okay. This is gonna confuse. Let's get those like that. And I did not make myself breakfast this morning. Not yet. I have had my coffee. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to pull that up, not too much pressure. Oops. I went under the signature, that's funny. Again, just always wiggle it, don't want too much wiggle. And if I feel it, then I'll pull it. That's the other reason why I do like a waxed thread, because it'll glide through your pages. Yes, Cordelia, coffee absolutely always comes first. Yes, I must have my coffee. I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it. It's funny, I don't drink coffee to wake up. I am one of those that can drink coffee at night before I go to bed. And it's, you know, comforting. Again, just always checking these teas, and then we just have two more. Well, hello, Dawn. How are you doing? Did you celebrate? Happy Easter. And remember, when you pull up on your threads as you're sewing your signature, to make sure that you've got a nice tension. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want so much wiggle going on back here. It's almost like a, drum that you've got going on there. You want to go straight up. You don't want to go off to the side, especially with this. T. And we are at our last one. Okay, that didn't take too long. I thought that was going to be like an hour. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, okay. So, all right, you're having a nice solo day. Well, then thank you so much for adding me to your day. Yes. My husband is golfing. And we are going to celebrate later today. I do, when I measure my threads, and I know it probably drives some people crazy, I do have extra thread. Um, but the reason why I do that is because I don't know if I'm going to add a charm, and okay, always check your threads. Was wondering why that one was so short. Um, because I don't know, I may add a charm in the center, or I may use a bow. So I leave them in there until the end, and I make sure I get them to the bottom. And then that helps me to say, okay, there's the top, there's my bottom. And there is our signature. And it works out perfectly with a 2-inch spine. It's every 1/4 inch. And you have 7. So when you can make it easy, make the math easy. But again, these are single pages, single pieces of cardstock. And we're going to decorate these with a digital. And as I said, you could use pattern paper if you've got those 12 by 12 pads that you're itching to use up. I think this would be a great way. You do want to use a heavier, this, as I said before, this is 65 pounds. I'm using 65 pounds Recollections. But I'm going to be layering on top of this, so it's going to make them thicker and more heavy. So if you've got that lightweight and your pattern paper's heavier, then that's perfect. But to have a lightweight, this would be really light. Not saying that you can't do it. I'm going to keep my templates. I got all my T's in a row there. You can see that. I've got my T here. And I'm going to get this into my album. And again, this was 2 pieces of cardstock as well. And I did use a heavier cardstock, the 110. All right, so I'm going to find my center, or a center. And I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put it flat, and I'm going to grab my 2-inch film. And I'm just going to put pieces down that. We've got a lot of texture on this with the sewing. And this will help to hold that in place. I'll lift that up, and I'm going to put that there. I'm not going to forget what my top is because I've got all my T's there, but at this point it doesn't matter either. And I'm going to open that back up, I am going to take my paper creaser and just go in between and push this down in between those threads, and that will hold them in place as well. And it actually helps to lift up the release paper. Okay. You, oh, thank you, Dawn. I've never heard of sourdough pancakes. Huh. Let's see, was there a reason you had the paper clips on the pages? Yes, Cordelia, there was, because I still had a template, and I wanted to keep that template there so that I know. And even though I only have one piece of cardstock for each of the signatures, I want to make sure that stays. I get asked a lot, I had said in the beginning, you know, how can I get my signatures so even going across? And that's because everything's got a T, and all those T's have to be at the top so that I know this is the top, because if one goes, I may not have the same measurement on my template. Like, even though this is in the center, this here's like 2 1/4, this is 2 1/4, I may just be off a little bit here. So if I flip one, that one signature has a chance to not be as close to even as possible. Wow, that was a lot of words to answer your question. So I hope I answered that. So the paper clips, since it was only, I didn't have to use the bulldogs, but this holds that in so that I don't get it mixed up. It's kind of like helps my brain just a little bit. I am going to add my glue again. Of course, it clogged up because, you know, it's what I do. Always have a pin close by. There we go. And then just making sure I get glue on the edges. It will ooze out. It's okay. I'm not going to put glue over the holes for the signature. I'm just going to go around them. But this is very strong double-sided adhesive. I love it. It's my favorite. I get it from Uline. But by adding the glue, I have that little bit of wiggle, because once this tape touches paper, she's down. So I want to gather my signatures up because this is flimsy. You can see I can, you know, turn it and all of that. So I'm just going to make sure that they're up. And I think, you know what, to help, I am going to grab a bulldog, put that right at the top so that that'll stay. And now I'm just going to set this down into the spine. Now this is a scant quilting term, 2 inches, so I'm going to put it again in between the score lines. Because I have that glue there, I'm able to just move this around. And I'm not pushing down yet, because that's what I don't want to do. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to use my nails to push that down. See if I can get that down just a little bit. See, that's the beauty of the glue. And now I'm committed. So now I'm going to push it down. So I'm going to start at the sides first. And then I'll grab my bone folder, and now I'm going to go in between each of our turning pages. Because then that tape is going to go through the glue, and it's there. She is there. When you use your bone folder, use it on its side. The point will make a mark. All right, and that is just not going to go anywhere. And there we go. We have our album together. And we did that in about 40 minutes. Woohoo! See? Look at that. Who knew? Now that I know that this is all together and she is secured, she is there, we've got a nice thick spine. I can push on it. It's not going to collapse. If it did, didn't matter. Now I can go in, and again, I use scrap paper for this. Now I can just tear this away. All right. Now we're ready to go. Just looking for questions here. Oh, lamb. We're going to have ham tonight. Exactly, Cordelia. And I've done that where I flipped one of the signatures that I had, and it could. And for me, I'm okay with it. I let it go, but it does take me some time to let it go. Just knowing that that one signature is up a little bit, and it's the smallest. It's the smallest shift, but it takes me a long time. I mean, and I'm going to be honest, I tell you guys all the time, just let it go. You know what? This is paper. We can have fun with it. There's beautiful things we can do with it, but it does take me time. It takes me time to let that go. So, that's why everything's got a T on it. Everything from the moment I start to do that. And that's what helps me to have that sitting up in there. Oh, Cordelia, that's wonderful. I'm glad I got you to make a multiple signature. Single signature journals are just as beautiful, but I do love to have those choices and to make them thicker, but the single ones are just fun. You know, you can really have a lot of good time with it. Okay, so we're going to set this not so much aside. And you can see that once we, it'll lay flat like that. And as you open your pages, at least for this one, it's a little flatter. But we're going to add some flips. We're going to add a pocket. So for every page that we turn, once we get here, we're going to have a pocket. And we're going to have a flip. Because we can do that. And you know these threads are going to make me nuts, right? Just saying. They're going to make me nuts. So, let's see if I can grab a hold of these. We'll just let them go. So we're kind of taking the concept of scrapbook album and a sewn journal, and we are combining it. So let's have some fun now decorating, because who doesn't like to decorate? I'm going to measure each of my pages. Now I know that this signature itself measured 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 because our cover is 5 by 7. And again, this can adapt to any size journal you want. What I do like to do is once I know the size of the journal that I want, that's the cover. So whether it's a 4 by 6, a 5 by 7, a 6 by 6, 8 by 8, whatever that is, for my signatures, I go 1/4 inch shorter in height and 1/4 inch of it to come out. Now, if there's multiple pages, sometimes more. So in this case, it was just one. So that now when this sits up, you can see how the pages are 1/4 inch back. Because if I want to add a tab, that'll stick out, because again, I like little tiny poofs coming out all over the place. And then it's also 1/8 of an inch top and bottom, because it's 1/4 inch shorter. So half of it is 1/8, half of it is 1/8. That's just my rule of thumb. Your pages can be any size you want. You can make them even, whatever you want to do. So I know each of my pages are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I want to have a frame. I'm going to use the base of the page for my frame. Like I showed before, we're using this. This is from Relatively Thoughtful, and there are some beautiful ocean photos here. Just absolutely gorgeous. So these are going to be cut 4.5 by 6.5. I'm going down yet another 1/4 inch. So I'm going to grab all of these. Oh, yes. There's 7. I was sweating that. Could you feel me sweating that? I'm just saying. And then this is still, celebrating. These are going to be our flips. And those are all of our cutouts. Yes, you felt me sweat. Oh my God, is there 7? Yes, there is. And we're just now going to cut. Now, since these are the way they're in portrait, they're not in landscape. Not that this would not be beautiful this way as well. I do want them to sit this way. So to save paper, I don't want to cut it this way. I want to cut it this way first. So my height is going to be 6.5. And if you have this trimmer, I love my trimmer. If you go right up to this edge, that's 6.5. Yes, I've measured it very, very eagerly, because why? Just saying, why? And the first thing I'm going to do is cut off that bottom white edge. And let's do that to all of them first, because if I don't, I will forget. You love the sound of paper. That's funny. And always cautious. There's some sounds that I'm okay with. This is definitely one of them. But we just recently And I just have to say, wow. So we had to get a new roof. It was time. So, and this was Friday. So I'll tell you. Um, so my husband, once again, went to play golf. I said 6.5, right? Yes. So now I can just line that up there. And do I want more? I do. This one's going to be cut up just a little bit more because I want more of the blue. So I'm going to shift this up. Going to say that love the blooms, love blooms. And now I'm going to turn it, and now I'm going to measure the 6.5. And that'll be a strip, good strip too. So we knew that they were coming in, and I was home on Friday. I took a half day. And just, wow, you know I'm going to make a cut wrong as I'm talking, right? I'm just saying. So this one's going to be 4.5. So that when I take this and I put this down, I'm going to have a white border going all the way around it. And that's what we're going to do. And these are going to start on the inside because I have 7 of these. So we have 1, and it'll be right where my T's are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes! All right, let's do this again. And I'm choosing which side that I want as well. I want more of the colors. So if I'm looking at this, it's like, okay, this one's darker a little bit over here. I kind of like that. So we're going to do the same thing. I want that to come down. And I'm using this line here to say, okay, where would that be cut? So again, just, you know, let me as into my head just a little bit of what I do here. So anyway, so my husband left at, you know, whatever time he left, and they hadn't started yet. They were here, and they started. All I can say is, wow. And we had some issues going on up in, I'm always going to line these up to make sure I'm cutting them right, going on in our, on our roof. I'll take that in just a little bit. And so I'm also in construction. So for those of you that don't know that, I'm in the health and safety for construction. And it was banging. And the pulling out of the nails in some areas. And this went on for, I'm going to say, 9.5 hours. And my husband came home. He just looked at me. And he kind of did an, oh my. My poor cat, Max, he was not having a good day. He was not liking this at all. He was not having it. If they slowed down, he'd come out. And then the moment they'd start back up, nope, he was back in, hiding. Yeah, it was really bad. And I knew if I took anything for my migraine, it wouldn't have done anything, so I had to wait. When I slept that night, I still felt the pounding. It was bad. It was really, really bad. So yeah, Max, yeah, he was not having it. Nope. he just was not, I felt so bad for him to the point that when he did come out, to think it was safe, that the noise were done and they would start, this poor cat would literally just jump. My poor little guy would jump straight in the air and just take off again. I'm like, okay. He's going to be traumatized for a long time. I think so am I. It was just a lot. My head is still pounding a little bit. But these guys, they did a wonderful job. It's done. You just have a couple more things to do. But yeah, wow. That is a sound that, nope. Nope. That was a bad sound. All right, one more. So you've got one more. So I was Gabby Gabby. Oops. A little bit off this one. Okay, let me move. Let me grab something here. That cutter's going to get in my way. And we'll have to put it here. All right. Okay, now these I don't save. I'm just letting y'all know. But you could do something with them. So now we have our seascape. So let's get these, and then we are actually almost there. Now, I'm just going to get these placed. All right. So if we have 7, again, this is just how my mind works. So, you know, I've got a texture piece here, so I want that to go there. That's a textured. Let's have that one go there. We've got this. I've got 2 textures here. So let's move that one there. Let's move that one there. Whoops. And there we go. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is another reason why I love paper clips. As I cut, I enjoy. I thought I messed up already. I do enjoy just cutting my papers. Again, production style. And I'll clip these in. And then everything just gets glued all at once. And as I said, I do have the pockets cut. So each page is pretty much going to be laid out the same. And that's okay. I think that gives it its charm. You could alter these pages, but you can see how pattern paper would be great for this. Not everybody wants to, you know, cook paper, you know, when you coffee dye or tea dye or even purchase it nowadays. Here are pockets. Haven't figured out my cover yet, and that's okay. Not everybody has access to vintage papers. So we love pattern paper. And that's what I'm showing here today. Bottom line, that's the technique. Just use pattern paper. Mine happens to be a digital. That's okay though. You can just change it up and use your pattern papers. So these pieces here are cut 3 inches by 5 3/4. All right, again, our pages are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And on 3 sides, I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. So here's my 1/2 inch here. And then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to score. And I'm going to do that to each of these. Pockets are going to have just a little bit of room. You could just cut your pieces to be 2.5 by 5 1/4 and just put glue on 3 sides. That gives you a flatter looking pocket. But I like just a little bit of room. Oops. I'm going to move this one off to the side, but it'll be covered up. So if you go off, that's okay. That's going to be covered off, but I'm going to put that there because I think I have more than what I need. Because really, I only need 7. But I do like to have a 1/2, so that's 4. Yes, I don't need that one, but I will use it for something. And again, this is lightweight paper. So if you're scoring, don't score too hard. It will go right through it. Oh my goodness. See if there's any questions. Rebecca, how are you doing? How is everything going? Oh, Sylvia, if I missed you, have a good day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Flo, how are you doing? For those of you just joining, if you celebrate Easter, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. All right, so here's the 7 that we need there. Hello. Good morning, Maureen. Oh, never apologize, Maureen. Oh, yes. Okay, so Maureen, this is the collection. It's from Relatively Thoughtful. It's a company in the UK. Now, she has both a physical product that you can get, or you could purchase the digital download collection. And this is called the Seaside Splendor. Some beautiful images. You'll see pages that we've already cut up. These are just some of the backgrounds. I took the seaside backgrounds and cut those up. And then it also comes with some beautiful cut aparts, and we'll be creating some flip outs with those. But yeah, relatively thoughtful.co.uk. And this is in line with the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen. All right, so now that we have these, I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut off the corners. So where the score lines cross, I am just going to cut along the diagonal. Cut out that corner on each of these. You can go straight across, however you want to do that, whatever is more comfortable. And then we're going to use the solid background papers for these here. And then we just fold these. And when I fold these, I like to put the sides in first and then bring up the bottom, because then it won't get hung up if you put anything in your pocket along the bottom. Now you can also, I also take that corner out in case it folds wrong, it goes away. So you can see if you have something that slides in, it's going to go right in. If I go this way, you can see sometimes it can get caught up. So when I glue them down, get that little piece out there, I always make sure it's sitting like that. I'm not mitering, because you don't have to miter perfectly. And then, yeah, just trim off the edge. Or the top edge, because then, again, I always fold crooked. Alright, then I will take these, open up my pages, and I will just, actually I'm going to unfold that, and I'm going to put that into my paper clip. Now there's a reason why I haven't glued down these C-sides yet, and that's because the flip is going to come off of that side. But then as I do this, this tells me, okay, I've got those pieces in there now. So let's look at our flip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these out. And I'm just going to line up on one of them. I'm actually going to go down the center. And now I'm just going to line everything up. And you know what? We're just going to line this up here. Because of that, I can use my scissors, which I'm going to. These, I can use my scissors. And that one, I can use my scissors. So it's just this one. Because of the edge, I want to make sure that I have this thin border to keep the watercolor look. There we go. So that is one. And these I am just going to hand cut. We're still going to have a white mat going around them. And even though there's only 6, we'll be able to pull one more from the cut aparts. This is why I love long shears. And just so you know, my hands are under the blade. That's steadying my hand. And the blade itself. Okay. Looking for questions. Unpacking. Move back home to Texas. Okay. Well, congratulations, Rebecca, and I hope you have a wonderful Easter with your family. All right, so here, these are not all the same size. Okay, they're just not. See how they're different sizes. So, I'm gonna make everyone crazy. So you can measure these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them on each. I'm going to put them on my corners. And you'll see what I'm doing. And if you notice, we're not sewing. We are not inking. It's very difficult for me to not grab the vintage photo. I'm just saying. And I'm just going to eyeball. I'm going to take another one, and I am going to see if I can get one close to the size. I think these two are close in size. Yes, they are, and I think this one's close. That one's actually even bigger yet. These three are close. This one's pretty close. So I'm going to put this one up here. Now remember, I keep all of my scraps because they can be hinges or anything like that. And then I'm going to take this and put these here. All right, so now I can bring out my trimmer because these are going to hinge this way. They're going to come out to the right. So I want my tab here. I'm going to put this in my cutter, and I'm going to leave a gap. I'm going to make sure it's in there straight, and I'm going to cut down. Because now I have another straight edge. I'm going to come in with my scissors. Now, you could definitely put this in your trimmer and say, okay, that's about the same size of my border, and cut down. Do the same thing. But I find it's easier if I just use my scissors. There we go. So they look like sideways Polaroids. That's kind of what you're creating. Now we're going to do that. Now this one's a different size, so I'm going to hold off on that one. And we're going to do the same thing. Rinse, repeat. Just make sure you're putting your image right side up. And I said that for myself. Just saying. Now, if you want them to flip this way to the left, then you want to put them on this side. And then have your Polaroid end on this side of the photo. But all of ours are going to flip out on the same side. And again, same thing. We're going to take it to the top. And again, you can use a thinner cardstock because your pattern paper might be just a little heavier. which will give it that strength. Same thing, we're going to come in. I want to make sure I've got a good tab. I'm going to come in with my scissors, cut the rest of my frame. And then I have a sheet here. That was the wrong paper. And here we go. So same thing. And I'm going to put these two on the same one. There's no sense of not doing that. You can make your mat as wide as you want. Again, same thing. Gonna leave a little bit. These flaps could be looked at and said, okay, these are really big flaps, but I'm okay with that. Happy Easter, Betty. How are you doing? All right. I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and along with everything else, I'm okay. And I'm going to put these in here. And I'm going to look for a mark that's close to my border over here, which is right here, and I'm going to go straight down. And I'm going to come in with my scissors, and I'm going to clip off these corners. And now we've created our hinge. Okay. All right, so let's do that to all the others. And we still have to find one more. Let's see. Now, if I think, well, that one's really tough to say. You can shift these for whatever space you want. And I'm going to shift that just a little bit, so that you can get it close to the mat that you've chosen. And I'm taking my time with that. Now we do have to find one more. Oh, yes. Okay. We're actually all right, so that's going to be that. And now I really want these two. So this is not going to bode well. I have the feeling. So no, did not cut that straight. But remember, you've got straight edges when it comes to your paper. So I know this is a straight edge. So that's what I'm going to use in my trimmer. And I know that's a straight edge. And I'm using this lip here to line up with the base of the image. And I know that is cut straight. And then we're going to do the same thing. This here was the other side. So I'm going to start here and start cutting around. Again, lining the first part of the design with that edge. So the border will be close to being even. And that we're just going to shift that over just a little bit. There we go. All right. So this one is going to be this side. Same thing. And again, so that I'm not wasting paper, but again, I do keep all of my scraps. We're going to keep that like that. Here, this one is going to go here. And I'll let you know what's going on in my brain in 1 second. If I try to explain it right now, I'm gonna forget. I'm just saying. I want these two so I've got that one like that, and I need this one to be on this side. All right. Just gonna push that. I'll put this one in. We're gonna do the same thing. You want to keep a nice border piece on that. I'm going to come up with my long shears, and I am going to use my trimmer to get some of this off as well. All right. And we're going to pull in our scoreboard for these last 3. So these two here are actually for our inside of our covers. So I'm going to set those over there, and then this is going to be our last one for our inside flips. And I'm not going to pull out the trimmer again. We'll just go straight up. So now what I have is on the inside covers, if something falls on my feet, there we go. We're going to have the one on the inside cover, one on the outside cover, and then those two will come out this way. All right, so that's what my thought process was. So that's why you want to make sure And that's kind of why I do all of this like in a production style. So I know this one's going to go here, and that's going to get glued there. And then I know this one is going to go here, and I'm going to clip that one there. I use these clips because they do not tag up or get caught on paper. And now we're going to take these out. Just these corners for when we fold over, in case I'm crooked, we don't see them. I love this one for the watercolor look. I'm really into watercolors lately. And again, we're going to look at them and say, okay, which way do we want to go here? I know I want that one to be the first one. I want that one to be the next one. Do that. We'll do that. Put that. And that. So I know this one's our first, so we'll clip this one up here. This is our next. We're going to clip. 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 Hoping I'm on camera when I did that. Clip. And clip. Alright. And there we go. Now, we're going to glue what we have now. Because for me, at this point, the pages are done. Now we're going to embellish. I'm hoping, because let's see, where are we at? All right, we're just over an hour. Let's see. I am going to get this in because I can glue that in. So, I'm going to take these. Can't find my, there's my bone folder. I'm going to fold that in. And I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to glue it along my cover's edge. So I'm going to grab my glue. We're going to flip it out, and we're going to push down. Now, I put this down first because then our cover is going to go here. It'll hide this flap. All right, once we choose what papers we're going to put here. All right, so now we have that, and that's going to flip out, and that's going to stay there. I am not going to put any magnets in this. You can, but, wow, that's a lot of magnets. just saying. And again, just paper. Let's just keep it to the paper. That's what's going to work. So now when I go here, I'm going to take this clip off. I'm going to move those strings. And let's put, not that down first, we want to put this down first. So again, it's always a process, and we can have fun where we put them. This one I'm going to put down here. We don't need to worry about double-sided tape putting these in because we're going to have that cover coming right in. Just keep an eye on where the edge of your paper is. Push down, flip that out, come in with your bone folder to press that down. Keep that out now. You want to keep that out. Don't keep it like this. See, guys, these are things that I've done. This is why I am saying that. We're now going to put our cover page in. And this is going to have a border. I get up on my tippy toes because we're letting the page be a mat. And we're going to push down. I spread out my hand. So now we have that, and that'll sit on top of that. Now I'm going to come in and really just crease that down because that'll help. See, it flattened out the page. That's all you got to do. All we got to do. Remember, I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold the sides in first, and then the bottom up. And I'm really going to get these creased. Now, if you want, you could put a notch in this. I am going to do that because I'm going to do something different on the top. And if you're wondering what type of hand punch circle size you should get, 1 inch. It is universal. It is awesome. I just eyeball for the center. I'm not worried about it. You know, yeah, you knew what happened there, right? I'm just saying. I'm thinking. This is going to go right to the corner. Yep. And if that's right in the corner, can I do that? No, but I will be able to with something else. Okay, we are going to get these pockets in. I want the pockets in. Again, you want to go right to your corner, right to the bottom, and this is going to snug right up against that score. So make sure you're over, and it'll still fold. All right, and because we took the bottom to the outside of the 2 side flaps, I don't have anything catching. All right, next one. So rinse and repeat. Let's see if I can do this all the way through. Too funny. Again, I just really varnish these down to make it as flat as possible. And when you're using a lighter weight for your bases, it will go down really flat. You can see that. And I will say this, working on white, wow, that really does a number to your eyes. It's like working on black and black. We're going to put in our flip. We'll put this one right here. Again, right up to the edge of the page. Push that down, flip that out. And now we're going to add our ocean. Push the strings aside. Get this somewhat in the center. And push down. So see, we can do anything in production style. Anything. Let's see. Any questions going on here? Yes. So printers. I recently, well, when I redid the studio, I did go with an Echo. Now, I did not print these down. Sally from Relatively Thoughtful graciously sent them to me. But there are others that you have seen that I have printed down. Echo Tank, they are very cost effective. Huge, 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 huge savings when it comes to ink. The one that I chose was a Canon G6020. And my main thing that I was looking for was I needed to be able to have a back feed. Because that's how I can get, sticker paper through, some lighter weight watercolor papers. I can run 65-pound Recollections paper through it, 110-pound text weight, not cover weight. So the Recollections 110, no. I mean, I'm sure you could, but I'm not going to try it. And I love it. And this is almost all together. Okay, we'll put this one in the center. When it comes to the flaps, I like to make sure I have at least a 1/2 inch. But as you can see, you can make them bigger. These are... Okay, fix that. pocket in. So I love a project like this. We don't have to have, and this helps me because I'm always in the world, oh, what can I do different here? Oh, what can I do different here? Gotta have something different. No, you don't. You can have something that is the same or the same design going through because the recipient is going to make it theirs and add their photos, their journals, their thoughts, and that will make it change on its own as well. And I did. I struggled with that. I'm like, okay, well, now I got to do something different in here and all of that. Nope. We do not. Now that one. So I'm getting close to the end. So now I'm looking at the final placements of my flips. Because I know where I want the one inside the back cover to go. Maureen, for printer, I use an inkjet. Um, printers, it's not that it's a personal choice, but I'll give a vague recommendation because my heart would break if I said, yes, get the one that I have. It works beautifully, and then something goes wrong. And I do that to Biddy all the time when it comes to die cutting machines. I feel horrible. I would look at an Echo Tank. Okay, so Echo Tank for either one, either a Canon or an Epson. I have a Canon G6020, and Biddy actually suggested it to me, and I have never looked back. Now, I did not, like I said before, I did not print this digital. But others, like my Christmas one, if you all remember the Steampunk Christmas, which I think next Sunday, we're going to be working on this one. I printed these pages on that printer. And the detail is just absolutely gorgeous. And the colors are absolutely gorgeous. Now, I did these on ivory paper when I did this. And I love it. And these are printed. I do use, it's all about the paper that you use. I use it's either, these are the 4 weights that I use. A 20, a 32, a 60, and a 110 weight paper. The 20, the 32, and the 60 are, it's for like, it's presentation paper. Hang on, I'll get a thing for it. It is this Hammermill Premium Color Copy. You can get this in 32 pound, 20 pound, and 60 pound. And this is what I print all my digitals on. I also use a 110 pound text weight. None of these are cover weights. These are text weights for your printer. Okay? And that it's by Nina Solar, but it's a text weight. I cannot stress that enough. A text weight, not a cover weight. And those are the 4 papers that I use when I print out a digital. Again, that color, the Hammermill Premium Color Copy, and I get it off of Amazon. So paper does matter. You don't have to change your settings. Okay, you don't, because this isn't photo paper. I do not use photo paper. The only time that I use photo paper for a journal that I'm making, I had a request for a journal, and they wanted pictures of their puppy all throughout it. So they sent me the photos. At that point, I used photo matte paper by Canon to make sure. And I have to be honest, I saw no difference using photo matte paper and using my color premium paper. I'll be very honest. I also like to use regular copy paper. 20-pound regular copy paper. Absolutely love it. I think it looks cool. I think it gives the digitals a cool effect. But I'm different. I will say that. I'm just different when it comes to that look. All right. Last one, guys. So I hope that helps, Marie. But Echo tanks are great because the cost of your ink is a fraction. I mean, it is a fraction. It's like ever since I compared my years when I had another type of printer and it was the cartridges compared to this one, and the difference, it kind of made me sick. All that money that I spent, it was amazing. It wasn't even like 1/32 of the cost. So it's like 1 year, and I'm just going to pull out numbers. These aren't the exact numbers. 1 year, it was like, let's say $400 for my ink, $400 to $500. Compared to 1 year of my Echo tank, it was 44. No zero, just 44. So huge, absolutely huge. Okay, so here are our pages so far. We've got that flip. These are our spreads. We've got our pocket. We've got our flip. And that's how each one of them look. Oh, that one matches nicely. And again, it's 7. This is all paper. Again, just the digital, but again, use your pattern papers for this idea. Yes, those strings are starting to get on my nerves. And you can see it's laying nice and flat. It's not, big and bulky. But I like big and bulky. And what I mean by that is, we're looking at, this one here is a 4.5-inch spine. That is way, way big. But this is also 5 signatures, very chunky signatures. Now this will lay flat too, but you can see how these pages just pop up. Can you still write in it? Absolutely. Now we're going to be adding things to this, but this is big and chunky. Where this one, it's a nice size, fits in the hand nice. This would be great for somebody who goes down to the beach and all of that. And then we have these in here and what we're going to do here. And I do know I am going to add something in here for those spreads. But let's look at our piece. I do want to cut up this cover. I want to keep it very seascapey. Is that a word? Is that even a word? Oh, it is now. I love the images, but not feeling them right now, which is okay. We as creators, I do want that piece from the cover. And I want, now remember, when we look at our book, this side here is 5 by 7. This side here is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So always readapt yourself to look at, okay, what are these pages and what are the sizes of them? And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 to look at, which is cool. That one I'm going to hold out. That's just really, really vibrant for me. And again, you're looking at different the differences. I do like these two together. So break it down. And that's what I'm going to do here. So when it comes to these sheets, I want to do my outside. So again, 5 by 7. I'm going to cut it 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I'm going to see if I can get, yes I can. So we're going to take off our white edge. One of the things I love about taking the scrapbook concept is it makes you slow down and think. For me, it does. Because again, you're working with limited papers. And that's what I challenge myself with. Yes, it would be easy just to go into my stash and add more papers and all of that. I like to challenge myself. Now I am gonna measure this. I know, amazing, right? I am gonna measure it. I'm gonna make a mark at 6 3/4. Just because I don't want to bring in my big cutter. You knew there was a reason, right? I'm just saying. But it does. It challenges me to just stick with the one collection. Now this is going to go here. And again, I put them back into the book. And now I want this side. I'm going to cut this 4 3/4. I want this dark edge on the edge of the page. So now I know I need to cut it this way. And now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to tuck it in there. So now I've got the two insides. I'm going to keep move those over there. And now this is going to be on this page and then on the one in there. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut off the white. Now this one, we need to cut 4 1/2. And what this is also telling me is I can get 2 covers for here from these sheets. So that is one of the main things that I absolutely love about the scrapbook album. It challenges me to slow down because you have to remember, okay, this page is different. This one's cut to a different size. This one's cut to this size. This one's cut to this. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trim this down to 6 1/2. So 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And I'm going to cut these two together because I can. Well, we're going to find out if I can. I can. And now that is going to sit here. And this one is going to sit here. All right, so now we just need to look at these 2 pages here. And again, we can look at these cover pages. Now I'm just pushing those up because I really do like the softer tones of these. And I'm saving all of these scraps. Now this may make you nuts, but I am going to cut all of this up. So 4 1/2, 4 1/2, and I'm going to do that to each of these. You could change your border if you wanted to save even more paper. That you can certainly do. Again, I'm just challenging myself to say, okay, with all of these, I'm going to come up with this number. Let's look at where this takes us. Looking for... Good morning, Anthony. Welcome. Flo, did I say hi to you? If I did not, I am so sorry. All right, and now I'm going to do all the cutting of the white strip. But you could change the size. You don't have to go down just a quarter or have a certain size border. You could make these smaller. You could cut them by 4 by 6. You could have any cut that you want to stretch your paper out. You can definitely add papers from other collections. Absolutely. I just like the challenge of saying, okay, can I do this without making any mistakes in cuts? Can I do this? Okay, I'm going to do something here because if I take that right there, I need these cut to 4 1/2 or 6 1/2. Mm-hmm. That's 6.5. There we go. I'm not going to keep going back and forth and measuring. Just saying. Now I know this. Take that to that. 6.5. Let's measure it out. Yep. Okay. Saves me time. It's okay if you add marks to your tools. They are your tools. Do with them as you wish. Yes, I'm digging out my scraps because they are going to become useful as well. When I'm doing a project like this, I do not get rid of any of the scraps except like stuff like this. If there is part of the design on it, I save it until the project is completed. And then I go through those, but this is starting to drive me crazy, so I'm sorry for all of this horrible sound going on here. All right. So now we have a majority of our backgrounds. We've got a lot of pages here, so we really have to look at, okay, so I have this. Let's go to the next one. Put one in here. Next one. Let's go here. And as they're folded, I can see the colors. And again, I'm just seeing what's available when it comes to all of this. Alright, which means this one is going to come out, and I want that one to go in. Now we're going to glue these pages down. Because if I don't, something's going to fall out. And I'm going to put these that we've just cut on the back side of where we put our flip. Can you mix and match? Yep. Yes, you can. I don't know why. For some reason, when I do a form of a scrapbook album, it is one of the only times that I am very matchy-matchy when it comes to something like this. because most of you know, nah, I'm not really a center person, kind of a wonky person. To me, that adds character and all of that fun stuff. Well, Rebecca, so I have actually started a community. There are multiple levels, and one of the levels is a free level. There's two choices. So make sure after we're done on the replay, go down and I will have it linked below, or you can go to previous lives. I have it linked down there. But I have created a community of paper manipulators. And we just launched I still have the Facebook group, but that's for everyone to inspire each other. Nothing really goes on or is going on in there. I love paging through there to see all the beautiful creations that people post. Oh, forgot about these. Thought those were already glued down. And we're going to get these in there. Let's see, where are we at in time? Actually seeing if this can get together in like 2 hours. We're already over 2 hours. All right, maybe 3 hours. But look how far we got in 2 hours, which I think is cool. And again, whether I put together a scrapbook, album, or a journal, and again, for me, there's definitely a difference. I love writing space. All right, so now we have that. I'm probably not going to get the cover done. So I'll probably do another video showing the cover. And I'll do that with a live recording. All right, let's look at this. We've got this. This is something interesting. Okay, it's just there. And here is where we can pull back in these strips, because I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you tell I'm going for a color palette? Oh no, I have another idea. These are going to go away. One, 2, 3, 4. 6, 7. So now I'm going back into my scraps. And what we're going to create on this side is a pocket. Let's create a pocket. Now this would be a really big pocket, too big. So this is actually just under 3.5. I'm going to cut this 2.5. It's going to have its mat, and I like that. Okay, so let's remember this. 2.5 by 6.5. So you can see, nope, not that way, this way. You can see now why I don't get rid of any of my paper scraps. They're always useful. They can become little pocket tucks. They can become embellishments on top of something else. You just never know. And we're able to continue the ocean vibe that we've got going on here. And these are going to be flat pockets. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Yes, I have all kinds of fun terms. I'm sure there's another more technical term that we can look at. So again, I'm going to pull these out. I always keep them to my left, at least for this project, and the pile is just growing. These can just get pushed over there. All right. That, yes. All right. So I showed you a pocket with a little bit, not a gusset, but there's room for that pocket to flex. See, it can flex. This one, oh, let me put these in order. Yeah, there's just a lot of method to my madness here. There we go. Again, don't think, just lay them out and say, yep, that looks great. So a flat pocket, still going to have its border, and all I'm going to do, I keep my finger on this side, and I'm going to put glue on 3 sides of this paper close to the edge. You don't need a lot. A thin bead of glue is fine. And now we're going to put that on this side. And now we've got a pocket. And it's a closer. I mean, this will come out, but you can see this one does not come out as far as this one. I mean, this one I can really bend her out. This one, no. It's almost, if I just put glue on this side, that's a tuck. This here, it's a pocket because I've got it on 3 sides, and we can just put all kinds of different things in there. So now we're just going to keep going. I keep my hand in the area where I don't want the glue. And I always get my hands down onto my table because then I don't go all over the place with the glue. Now, what also helps to see the pages is just get a piece of paper down there. And I do that now, 2.5 hours in. So now I can see my edge. So again, do I want it that way? I don't know, I want it this way. So again, keeping my hand there, because then that tells me don't put glue on this side. Now, you could have cut these with those half-inch tabs if you wanted. Again, totally your choice. Let's see. Anthony, just a quick look. I finally have my video filming equipment installed. Awesome, Anthony! Yes, guys, get ready. Anthony is going to be doing videos. This is going to be exciting. Yes, it is. My short one. Did I miss one? Did you all see me do everyone? Did I miscount? I'm flipping through. Alright, I guess not. But you know what? I definitely want that one in there because I think it's pretty. Anthony, that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And, okay, so not a plug. You were just saying that you're about to do videos. I think that is wonderful. Okay. So now we are 2 hours and 18 minutes in. And we almost have the inside done. We still have room for this to grow because we've allowed for space in between. But it lays nice and flat. We've got flips. This here, so case in point. We've got, let's find, okay, so we can take this. Yeah, I did want to pull out my trimmer, I know. And I'm going to for this one. So I'm going to put a mark on this because I do want a frame around this one. I'm going to pull up my trimmer. Yep, I'm going right over the thing. It's okay. It's not hurting it. I'm going to carefully find that mark again that I can't see. Trim that. And again, this was one of our scraps. Going to keep my finger where I want the glue to not be. And now we've created a pocket. They can journal up here and they can put something in here. And it's there. Again, it's all with, now you know since I did that there, I've got to do that over here, right? You know that, right? I'm just saying. I am just saying. Again, I'm going to put my mark. Yeah, this, when I do these, it really pulls in my matchy, which, and this, it really is the only time that I do matchy. Now, my pocket doesn't need to be matchy, so I don't care about its height. I just love the colors that are through these beach scenes and the watercolor look. Okay, now I feel better. And you don't always have to, you could have one coming in on this side like we did on the other pages. Again, whatever it is you would want to do, you can do. To have the accent colors, I'm going to use these two. Now we have our pocket here. I want to measure this pocket. And they're all the same, so I just have to measure once. And always look at your ruler. You could be missing like part of it. I'm just saying. So this measures 4 3/4 by 2.5. I'm going to write that down. It's another reason why I keep my scraps over here. 4 3/4 by 2.5. And yes, I add the arrows. So I know what my cut is going to be is 4 1/4 going this way by 2. No, 4.5. See, it's why I do this. It's got to slow me down. I want to go down 1/4 of an inch by 2 1/4. That's what my cut is going to be for these pieces. So I am going to move that and shift that out of my way. I believe I need 7. So I'm going to cut this 4.5. And these are going to be cut 2 1/4. 1, 2, 3. All right, so I know I'll get 3, and I think I need 4 of these. So again, 4.5. And instead of cutting into that sheet, so I've got 3. Okay, I thought I lost them. Got 3. I'm going to take 1 of these. Because I haven't used this yet. So we'll do that. See, it's kind of like a, you know, matchy type thing. That's going to go in the center one. And now we're going to get these into our book. We're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to get these in place. Again, using our glue. Now, you could just put glue on 3 sides of these, and you'll have a double pocket. That I'm not looking for. Not feeling that one. Because remember, the more pockets you put in, the more room the recipient that you're giving this to will need. Because they will expand. Okay, remember your pockets are going to expand when it comes to this. I think the background papers Would you have enough to cover the whole page? No, but I do think that what's coming into this kit and what you get is nice. For a 5x7, again, this is a 5x7 journal that we're putting together, and this was cut wrong. So, I'm not going to put that, there we go. Just saying. See, we just keep going. We just keep going. Again, but this is a way to also stretch. Now, you'll have more paper available if you make a smaller size journal, you know, like a 4x6 or even a 4x4. I like to see how far I can push the paper because it's just what I do. I make myself nuts. And again, I did no thinking of this before I hit the live button. I just said, let's do this. Okay. That's what we have. Now, here's what I want to do here. Sorry. I know I'm probably driving someone crazy with that sound. I do not mean to do that. I think I'm going to take myself off the challenge. But I really don't want to take myself off the challenge. I am okay. See, these are all my scraps. I'm putting them up above me to give me a visual of, okay, what do I have going on here? Because what I'm feeling here is sandy, a beachy feel. If you know what I mean. Flo, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your service. Anthony, do I recommend a specific glue bottle? No. No. No, they're all good on Amazon. You just want to make sure that it's got, you know, that metal tip, and they're all the same. All the metal tips are the same. The only thing I may just also recommend, yeah, go with a 2-ounce bottle. I mean, don't try, you know, you're just going to constantly fill them up. So make the leap, just get a 2-ounce. So this is what I've got. And I'm going to break what I said. I know. Nobody holler at me. Don't leave nasty comments. I am going to break it. But what I'm going to put in here is ivory. Okay, so ivory cardstock. Not coffee dyed papers. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but not coffee dyed papers. And again, I'm going to use 65 pound Recollections. And I want to measure this. And then I think this is where I may end it. I want you all to enjoy. Ave, hello. Oh, it's okay. You're not really late. I'm just having some fun here. So 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I want to go 4 by 5. Four by 5. 4 by 5. Let's remember that. 4 by 5. Now I am going to pull in my decal trimmer. My deckled edge, because it will go a lot faster. You could just take a ruler and tear it. So what my thought is, so that you can see, again, I want to stick with, I can tuck that in a little bit. It's another journal spot. So that's what I'm thinking. All right. Let's continue on, shall we? Now, you could add inks to these, and you can add inks over the top, and then add water splatters if you want. But again, I'm trying to stay with paper to show that you don't, I'm gonna get rid of that too, because I'll forget. You don't have to have, excuse me, you don't have to have a sewing machine. You don't have to have all the inks in the world. You don't have to have all the paper in the world. You can use one collection, whether it's a paper pad or a digital, and you can create, dramatic pause for a drink of water, you can create a journal. And it can be a scrapbook style journal. It doesn't have to be, this cut's really loud. It doesn't have to be chipboard. You don't have to have your chipboard, and you can mix and match. You know, you don't have to have a hinge for your scrapbook album. You can have a sewn, sewn signatures going on in there, and all that fun stuff. And I need to see how many I need here. Again, I'm always placing stuff as I go. It's good to always have your neutrals when it comes to your solid cardstock. Because then they can be your mats as well, so that you can create your journal cards. Okay. You'll get the same effect too if you have the deckled edge scissors. You could use those as well. Again, I always want to give you alternatives. of what you could use instead of what I'm using, because there's always alternatives. You can always get different looks. I mean, you can tear it, you know, draw a line. So if I just drew a line, does it have to be straight? No. And then you can just tear along that line if you want. It can get a little cumbersome, but your thumb can guide you. So, you know, there you have a teared edge. So that would work too. You know? I am not going to add any inks. And I'm going to lift up this pocket, and I'm just going to lift that back up again. And I just want it to be somewhat centered. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Ooh, like that. And then just keeping these areas plain, you're just giving your recipient more areas, because I do believe that recipients should have areas to journal. And you can see now she's starting to lift. That's why I'm being, you know, not too crazy with all of the layers. And I'll always go, now you didn't have to go beyond the pocket, but I do like to go beyond the pocket. It creates like a slip and slide, you know, for your stuff that you want to put into your pockets. I mean, you didn't have to. You could have, just gonna tear this down. You know, you could have had just a piece here, you know, made a square, you know, and put it in like that, you know, to give it that edgy, beachy feel. Again, paper makes any creation that we do possible. That's why I love paper. It is truly just a wonderful, wonderful medium. Okay? We have completed the inside of our journal. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do, and what I've decided, is these are going to go into bows. And I'm going to trim the ends. Oh. Let's glue our last one in. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Here we go. And then we'll do a flip through, and then I'll finish up. I'll do another video finishing this up. Or, you know, you guys get to vote. Would you like me to continue with this next week, or do you want me to get back to the steampunk Christmas? You can let me know in the comments during the replay. I'll make sure I look at the comments here before I close out. Now, remember, when we go to the replay, there will be links down below um, to the community. Again, thank you all so much for joining me there. Um, Wait till you see what we come out with for May. May's going to be fun with our projects for each level. Again, there's 2 levels. There's a paid and there is a free. But we're able to be more interactive here and all of that fun stuff. So I'll have that linked down below. Remember, I've got a giveaway, so make sure you go to my YouTube community. All right, not my Facebook page, not the comments down below here. And if you want more details, or all the details, you can look at the community post. I give details there and also in last week's live. But you do want to leave your comment there with your number that you choose. To see the packets again, you want to make sure that you go back. I'm sorry, I have them actually packaged up already, ready to go, because I was not thinking to show them today. You have until 11:59 tonight. And again, I will respond to your comment for the winner. 3 winners will be chosen based off the number that they like. So make sure you check that out. Let's see if anyone said anything. Let's do this one. So Cordelia, you want to finish this one? Okay, we can do that. I'm tapping, I'm sorry. So yeah, YouTube community, I have the information there. I haven't posted anything since, but that's also going to be a regular place that I do post just announcements and everything else. So, you know, make sure you check that out. But I didn't want to put another post in. I didn't want that one to get pushed down. I wanted that one to be at the top. I know I could pin it. And I'm not technically inclined. So that will explain how this will work. So yeah, so what I did was I took 2 of my stamps from previous releases, just chose 2 at random, and I made them a packet for a giveaway. And then you'll comment on the community post in YouTube, and it should be, so if you go to my channel, the beginning, you know, you see videos, playlists, lives, all those choices. It'll either say community or about, I'm sorry, community or post, and you want to click on that and you'll see the post there. And then that's where you'll comment and put your choice 1, 2, or 3 to do that. And then I will respond to one of your comments down there. If I respond to you, that means you've won, and then we'll go back and forth. Please know my email, when I contact you, has no numbers. It is include a thank you, all one word, at Gmail. Okay, that's my email, and that's where you will be sending that to. If you receive include a thank you 312, nope, not me. 312 include a thank you, nope, not me. Okay, so please, I did it this way because I don't want anyone to be scammed. That just breaks my heart in way too many levels, and it wasn't going to happen. All right, so that's how this will work. I will be pulling, not tonight at midnight. So just saying, I should be asleep, but I will be pulling shortly after that to choose the winners. So look out on Monday when I come across. So While I say you have until 11:59 tonight, you got a little longer. Trust me, you got a little longer. All right, let's do our final flip through. So we still have to do our cover. We did a hidden spine. This is by cardstock, 110 pound, 2 pieces. Each piece was cut 7 by 7 and scored at 5. We layered those up for a nice thick spine, and then we still have to do our back cover. When we open up, she's not laying as flat anymore because she's got some bulk, but we have 7 pieces of cardstock just folded in half. They were cut to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and they were sewn in as a hidden spine onto another piece of cardstock. This cardstock here is 65 pound weight, okay? Because when we layer other cardstocks or pattern papers on top, it's going to get thicker. So we don't have to use our 110 pound. We can use that 65 pound Recollections, which I think is a phenomenal cardstock. I absolutely love it. It is great for matting. It is great for just lots of things. Here's just another thing. We used a lot of the digital. This is what I have left from the digital. All of these scraps here, only this piece is left as a solid background. And then we have just the rest of the cover because I'm saving this. And then we have beautiful flowers to fussy cut, beautiful emblem here. There's 6. Some shells, and then our images. Now again, I don't believe I'm going to be putting the images in, but definitely the flowers, definitely these labels here, one of these, the shells, and then also these borders here. So that's what I have left of the collection. And again, it's a beautiful collection. And there's the name. Okay, here we go. And it's called Seaside Splendor. I will have it linked down below, and you can get it at Relatively Thoughtful. Again, they are outside of the UK. And you can choose. They will print it out and ship it to you, or just a digital download. Let you download it as well. So we chose our papers, but we've got flips. We added the pockets in there. When we turn in, we've got a pocket here, and we have a flip. These papers are light enough that there's lots of journaling available for the recipient. And when we turn the page, again, they can add a photo here. This could be a photo mat, excuse me, or they could journal in that side and then place a pocket or a picture in this pocket. And then we've got the same setup. A flip out, just in a different location, a pocket. When we turn, this can be a photo mat, or the recipient can place their photo in here and journal on this side. So it's pretty much the same setup, but very beachy feel. Very much so. Lots of room to place things. These pages were absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, what we can also do is on the back side of these, we could place some of our scrap papers. You know, we can cut a section out and continue that over there. And wow, that would fit there. Oh, no. Okay. I was about to say, wow, that was fitting there perfectly. But no, there's a white edge. But you can do that. You know, you could place a mat here. Because they could tuck a photo on this side and then have the journal here, or have this be the secret spot where they journal and then the photo sits here as well. But pretty much the same setup, but again, lots of different opportunities for the recipient to make it the way that they want it to look. And that's what I love about these. So we don't always have to have all the flips and the flops and everything else. And again, it took me a while to get used to that. I was always there. So next week, we're going to come back to this. It looks like. Yes, Ave. Pride and Prejudice. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm not looking at questions. So when we come back next Sunday, we're going to finish this up. We're going to do the cover. We're going to do the spine. We're going to do the back. And make some journal cards out of what's left. And decorate these areas here. Yep. 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 Okay. That is what we were going to do. When it comes to this, oh, we'll have a ribbon closure when it comes to this. All right, guys. Go. I've kept you long enough. It is, we are almost going into 3 hours. You know, I think that's what I'm averaging. Yeah. For those of you that celebrate the Easter holiday, enjoy. I hope you have a lot of fun. Create those memories. That's always the best part. When family and friends get together, the memories that we create together, it's always wonderful. Enjoy. You'll have a couple videos out this week. I know the 25th, if I remember to post it, I will show you how I created this one for the holidays, because, you know, Christmas is all year for me. Absolutely. But I'm going to show you how I made this one with just a few tweaks. There is going to be a watercolor type video, so a sneak peek. Oh, too cute. Yes. So we will see that in its glory this week. Or no, that's next week. I will have an upload into the community on the paid side, and we're going to have a short little post going in on the free side. So again, looking at that to go through as well. And I think this week, what's actually going to start, I am going to start a journal, a vintage style journal. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 1 signature, 2 signature, 3 signature. Oh, no. Not quite sure, but we are going to do a journal of some type, and it's going to be multiple videos going through showing each step or the majority of them. Kind of like the way Creep on June was. So, guys, enjoy your week. I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for joining me today, especially of it being a holiday. I appreciate that. And truly grateful. Thank you for all of your support, whether it's here, whether it's in my community, whether it's you purchasing my stamps. I'm humbled, I'm honored, and very grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. More will be coming, so stay tuned, because, you know, I don't do things small. We're going to keep having fun with paper and what we can do with it. And I will talk to you all next Sunday. Take care, guys. Continue to stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you then. Bye.